One chest pure, loving devotion to me, thinking of me as his son, his friend, or his beloved, regarding himself as great and considering me his equal or inferior, I become subordinate to him. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, three kinds of devotional service are described, namely bhakti, which is ordinary devotional service, Shuddha Bhakti, which is pure devotional service, and Vidha Bhakti, which is mixed devotional service. When devotional service is executed with some material purpose involving fruitive activities, mental speculations, or mystic yoga, then it is called mixed or adulterated devotional service. Besides bhakti yoga, the Bhagavad Gita also describes karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga. Yoga means linking with the Supreme Lord, which is possible only through devotion. Fruitive activities ending in devotional service, philosophical speculation ending in devotional service, and the practice of mysticism acting in devotional service are known respectively as karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga. But such devotional service is adulterated by three kinds of material activities. For those grossly engaged in identifying the body as a self, pious activity or karma yoga is recommended. For those who identify the mind as the self, philosophical speculation or jnana yoga is recommended. But devotees standing on the spiritual platform have no need of such material conceptions of adulterated devotion. Adulterated devotional service does not directly aim for love of Godhead. Therefore, service performed strictly in conformity with the religious scriptures is better than Vidya Bhaktis because it is free from all kind of material contamination. It is executed in Krishna consciousness solely to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah. Those who are spontaneously devoted to the Lord and have no aims for material gain are called attracted devotees. They are spontaneously attracted to the service of the Lord and they follow in the footsteps of self realized souls. Their pure devotion, Shuddha Bhakti, manifested from pure love of Godhead, surpasses the regulative principles of the authoritative scriptures. Sometimes loving ecstasy transcends regulative principles, such ecstasy, however, is completely on the spiritual platform and cannot be imitated. The regulative principles help ordinary devotees rise to the stage of perfect love of Godhead. Pure love for Krishna is the perfection of pure devotion. And pure devotional service is identical with spontaneous devotional service. Flawless execution of regulative principles is exhibited in the Vaikuntha planets. By strictly executing these principles, one can be elevated to the Vaikuntha planets. But spontaneous, pure, loving service is found in Krishna Loka alone. Yeah, read the book. The book is over. Srila Prabhupada is explaining here about the three kinds of devotional service: the ordinary devotional service, the pure devotional service, the mixed devotional service. Srila Prabhupada goes on to first explain about the mixed devotional service. Now, this is the devotional service which is adulterated with various motivations depending on the excessive identification of the living entity. When the identification is with the body, then fruitive activities become prominent, and therefore the Karma Yoga is the prominent mode of devotional service. When one identifies with the mind, philosophical speculation is overwhelming. And then this kind of practice of devotional service imbued with philosophical speculation is Jnana Yoga. And when mysticism is the contamination, then it is Dhyana Yoga. This is mixed devotional service. Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, Lord Kapildev explains when in this way devotional service is mixed with the three modes. The net result of devotional service, which is mixed with the three modes, is the very characteristic results which the modes will lead to. So, performance of bhakti in the mode of ignorance will increase one's madness and agony. Devotional service in the mode of passion will lead to too much attraction to puja la pratishtha, burnout. There are a lot of chances of the person being fried out. Nectar in the beginning, poison in the end. And devotional service in the mode of goodness can also lead to complacency because there is this sense of happiness and knowledge. So, so Lord Kapil Dev is explaining something very important and essential because what Lord Kapil Dev is explaining, when we adulterate the practice of bhakti, the adulteration is what takes over. The net effect is the effect of the adulteration. Srila Prabhupada many times gives a common example or a well known example of a sweet rice mixed with sand. When sweet rice is mixed with sand, the preparation will be intolerable because sand takes over. Although it is sweet rice. Srila Prabhupada gives many nice pictographic examples like this. Another place he gives example of milk touched by the fangs of a snake. Milk, a little bit sip, the snake Mahaprasad of the milk. It is still milk, chemically, texture wise. But effect wise, it's not milk, it's poison. Oh, no, no, milk is so much quantity, poison very little. Doesn't matter. So the adulterated bhakti The Vidha Bhakti, which is told as, is as such a very painful and messed up, messy trajectory. Therefore, the first duty of a sadhaka should be to remove these contaminations from one's practice of bhakti. There is a tendency to always put prerequisites in our practice of bhakti. The people think, okay, if I get a good job, then I can practice very nicely. If I get a good wife, then I can practice very nicely. If I get US visa, then I can practice very nicely. My H1 visa, not the visitor. So these prerequisites unnecessarily spoil the sweetness of bhakti. If bhakti has to be without prerequisites. That is why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and now if you see in the verse it is being said here, that one who relishes my devotional service. This relish will come when we remove the prerequisites. Bhakti is automatically sweet, but these prerequisites and adulterations take away its taste. And therefore, the process of filtration, when we extract out and we remove these adulterations and contaminations, bhakti is intrinsically sweet. Fruitive mentality has to be given up. So we see that now each of these adulterations which are mentioned, they actually not only take over and change the effect, but we will see that they suppress the very practice of bhakti also. Like say for example, person is too much fruitive mentality, he cannot preach. Why cannot preach? Because preaching may one has to be selfless. Person has too much fruitive mentality. Hey, I give you 4 hours. You have to increase 2 rounds. How can you? You know? I gave you 1 month of follow up. You know? And you need to come up. So if too much fruit mentality, oh, this person not reciprocating, okay, drop him. That person not reciprocating, drop him, drop him, drop him. So what will one have in one's hand? Nothing. Only fruit mentality. So that selflessness, so the very fabric of fruit mentality, it not only takes over the effect of the practice of devotional service, it crushes the very practice of devotional service also. So So otherwise, very easily the person will get discouraged and give up Krishna consciousness, the practice. Like somebody is giving Bhagavatam class. If there's too much fruity mentality, then after the Bhagavatam, one is looking at people, hey, who's coming to glorify me? You know? Yeah. And many times nobody comes. People just get up and walk off like that. And then one is going to people, okay, how's the class? How's the class? You know? I say, okay, class was okay, but you have backup saver today, better come on time, like that. So, one time a devotee was asking, how's the class? How was the class? The other devotee said, class was absolutely bogus. What a miserable class. Such a bad class I've never heard. So this devotee got so depressed. So, we are giving class not for accolades. We're giving class just to reinforce our absorption in Krishna. That is the motive. So therefore, fruitive mentality very dangerous. Like I'd seen sometimes, uh, there had been preachers, and they had criteria that if you cannot get at least different preachers, just like many times people have different rankings, these preachers have different requirements. There were some preachers, if you cannot get less than 100 students for a class, they will not give the class. So if they come in a hall and they see there are less than 100 students, they'll walk out. They'll not give the class. Some others had a criteria of 50. Some others had a criteria of 25. Some others had a criteria of 10. So, but all this is fruitive mentality, nothing else. Now, what is the criteria? We have to learn the criteria from the acharyas. Our acharyas are saying you can preach to the four walls also. Means if nobody is there, only the four walls are there, you can preach. That is perfect preaching. Preaching to the four walls. So, therefore, one has to be very, very cautious about. So, similarly, many times devotees are discouraged doing book distribution or preaching. Why? Because results don't come. Nobody reciprocates. Nobody takes books. Whole day you struggle and 10 books go. So this is an example of a fruitive vision. Why? Because the okay, if only no 10 books have gone the whole day, now why don't one see it like in another way that okay, 10 people at least got introduced to Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada made his whole America tour on the no the purpose of the tour was if only one person can become a pure devotee. Prabhupada writes that in his purport. Then our mission is successful. Prabhupada made the whole ISKCON mission that even if one person becomes a pure devotee, our mission is successful. And we are thinking, okay, I distributed only 10 books, 20 books. What is the use? Book distribution doesn't work out. Then for many, preaching will also not work out. Because nobody becomes devotees. Now, very few people become devotees. And even if they're becoming devotees, they're becoming dhila, pila, devotees and all that. So, therefore, one has to jnana is another interesting contamination. In Kali Yuga, I don't know in Kali Yuga, in material world rather to say, everybody thinks he's very learned. He or she is very learned. You approach any living entity, means any human being in the planet, and if you say, okay, I need advice, they will give enormous advice. So, because these are jnana tendencies, these are jnana tendencies, and many times. So I remember we used to go preaching to IIMs, and as soon as we would go, we say, "Oh, you're doing good work. You expand your mission like this, like that." They will start giving advice. Now, advice is okay, but what about practice? I say, no practice. This is the problem with jnana. So the person will say, "Oh, pure devotional service. Oh, no, no practice." So one should do something. Sometimes one should do something. Not just keep hovering around on the mental plane. Devotional service is practical action. So this jnana is a contamination. Mysticism is very much pretty much equivalent to Pujala Pratishtha. because practically that is the only mysticism which we can get in Kali Yuga. Puja Labh Pratishtha. We can influence people. We can control people like that. So this is very dangerous. So all these three are very dangerous contaminations because they poison, they take over the effect, and they crush the very practice also. They crush the very practice also. So Jnana tendency is very dangerous also. So even Jnana tendencies, sometimes we see as people are growing older, you know, there's so many services they don't do. They don't do backup seva. They feel that okay, you know, younger fellows should do it. You know, they don't go for book distribution. They will. This is for young people. You know, they should roam around distributing books. They don't do DT service also. They say okay, some full-time pujaris who are maybe not educated. Some local Bengali, some like that. They can do. Good for them. We just give them 10-15,000 rupees a month. They can do it. That's good enough. Cooking, anybody can do it. Just get somebody with 15,000 rupees and they can do it. And just get. So then what are you going to do? The whole question is, okay, sir, what are you going to do, Prabhu? Well, no, I'll only give classes. So, like sometimes some devotees say, oh, I am a preacher. I am a preacher. I like to preach. I am a preacher. So, unfortunately, this is not a unique liking actually. Everybody in this material world likes like that because the Jnana tendencies are like that. Such a person says, no, I just preach. I don't want to worry about where funds are coming. I don't want to worry about how everything is working out. I just want to give class. Now, this is Jnana tendency is very dangerous. So, if there is no practice, there is no purity. That is the point. The purity will come from the practice. Therefore, what is being Samanya Bhakti is being explained then. Hey, what is the difference between Samanya Bhakti and pure devotional service? We will see Srila Prabhupada is explaining the pure devotional service practice to be sort of equivalent to spontaneous devotional service. So, what is what is ordinary devotional service then? Ordinary devotional service is basically the practice of regulative principles, the Vaidhi Bhakti. And then sometimes people feel, oh, I am extraordinary. When means, I don't practice ordinary. This is the path of ordinary devotees of the Lord. I am extraordinary devotee of the Lord. So, for all practical purposes, for all of us, the regulative principles of devotional service are the only staircase by which we can ascend or elevate our consciousness. There is no other staircase. So, therefore, adherence to the regulative principles is very important. Like, are we at, so we have one has to question that, okay, my spirit strength in spiritual life depends on adherence of regulative principles. Am I there for the morning program? Am I reading my prescribed number of hours of Srila Prabhupada books? Am I doing Harinam Sankirtan? Am I going out for book distribution in the week? Am I doing some menial services like cooking, toilet cleaning, temple hall cleaning? Am I doing some deity services? Adherence to regulative principles is what can elevate us, what can protect us. So, none of us should assume that we are transcendently endowed or we are extraordinary. That is the beginning point of a trap, which can prove to be fatal. Like there is a very simple regulative principle which the acharyas are giving. Men should preach to men, women should preach to women. Very simple. Adherence, strong adherence will not only protect us, but it will nourish us. And a lapse in adherence can prove to be a fatal trap, and one is risking, so it can even take the cost of one's spiritual life. So regulative principles, the directions which the acharyas have given us, are most important for us to latch on to latch on to. So therefore, the Srila Prabhupada is explaining the spontaneous devotional service can never be imitated. The So, what is spontaneous devotional service? When one very strongly latches on and catches on to the regulative principles, then one gets absorption in those practices. That absorption and relish, when it intensifies, that is called as spontaneity. So, spontaneous devotional service does not mean that one is getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning and saying Krishna. No, no. Spontaneous devotional service means that one will jump up from the bed at 3 o'clock. Where is Krishna? How can I sleep? Huh? Spontaneous, no need of alarm and devotees and nothing. Person will just jump off like that. Uh, like Srila Prabhupada didn't require anybody to wake him up. Is it not? Not that when Prabhupada was, his practice was like lines on a rock. So he would get up or start writing his books at 1:30 a.m. means 1:30 a.m. Whatever, irrespective what time he's sleeping, what country he's in, what time zone he's in. So that is spontaneous devotional service. So rock solid steadiness is what will give rise to that relish and taste, and one will very naturally practice. But for us, it's not natural. We have to force ourselves. But that is the way we can please Krishna. And therefore, uh, one should not be hesitant to struggle, to stand by the regulative principles which are given. Only by this strong adherence can absorption and relish take place, and one can actually experience the intimacy with Lord Krishna, as is being explained in this verse, either as a son, or as a friend, or as a lover, and so on. Let us stop here for today. Hare Krishna. Hare Well, Krishna Prabhu. Krishna Pranam. Dhanavad Pranam. Prabhuji, I have one question. Just as you have said that to not to preach and just in my case, we didn't get regularly chance to preach somebody. But whenever I get chance, I told people about what I have heard. So, but most of the time, what I heard, I just repeat in my mind or heart, try to grab it and to get by it. But is that a condemnation or something like that? No, Prabhupada explains, so you're doing the right thing. Prabhupada explained that, okay, whatever we have heard and read and we are practicing, we can share with others. That is what is preaching all about. And while we are sharing, that is a reminder to us that I need to practice also. Stand by it. Yes. Okay. Hmm. Um, you see, Prabhu, when we are preaching, then uh, there are two things which have to be considered. One is what we have heard and read, and we are practicing, are trying to practice, struggling to practice. And secondly, what is beneficial for that person at that stage in which the person is. So, when we are sharing Krishna Katha, then uh, um, these two consideration, when you are preaching, these two considerations come in picture. As far as sharing what we have read and heard, maybe weekly we can have a get together with some devotee friends, and for a carefully observed short period of time, half an hour, 1 hour, and then everyone can share what they read and heard in that week. That becomes some relishable, so one can actually pair up with few devotees and then do that exercise mutually once in a week for half an hour or 1 hour. If it goes 5 hours, 4 hours, then it'll go into Prajalpa, because we are not that spiritual. So keep it short, keep it focused. That can be done. That's good enough. That is good enough. And Acharyas explained that in general, when we hear something, we should churn it, we should meditate on it. So mananam, nididhyasanam, seeing the world with the perspectives and the spectacles of what we have heard, and then apply in our lives. That is the way in which the philosophy becomes an insight. The jnana becomes vijnana, realization. Sure, Baba. Yes, Baba. Yes, Baba. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, we can do 50-50. Half we can do, actually. We have seen many times in our temple, there are many services which are uh, very strenuous, physically and mentally, both. Like, say, for example, at one point of time in our temple, we had a track record that any devotee who would take up the health service would be blown off the ashram. She would leave ashram. One, two, three, four, five. That was a statistic. That anybody who takes up the health department, because health department very strenuous seva, because devotees are ill. When devotees are ill, then sick man has expectations also, and they're helpless also. And because of helplessness, sometimes there is desperation also. And sometimes moods and emotions are a little erratic also because they're sick, so there are many things, and everything has to be done for them. Sometimes cloth washing also, giving food also, medicine also, doctor also, this also, that also. And suppose five people are sick, oh, the health in charge becomes chutney. So we saw one devotee became health in charge. 1 year he left ashram, another devotee left ashram, third devotee left ashram. After that, one of our devotees was made in church. Uh, so he was from our team, our counseling group. And then he was telling me, what should we do? No? So I was thinking about no, what to do now. I don't want it to become a sixth case of a person leaving ashram, and getting completely fried out and all that. So after meditating, I told him to clearly tell no, the whole management committee of no, the TMC committee that I can take up the seva. Give me one more devotee. I will do it for 4 days. 3 days I need off. The other devotee can do 3 days, and other 4 days is off. And they said, okay, what will you do in those 3 days? Okay, and then I asked him, what do you like doing? He said, okay, I like to preach. I like to, so I said, okay, tell like that. So he did that way and successfully. They could continue, not like that. They could continue. So sometimes some services are very very taxing, and therefore one has to keep a so 50-50 one can do what one likes. One can do half the time. What is needed, one can do half the time. So because what one likes can give one lot of juice, and what is needed can get one lot of blessings. Both will purify a person. That's fine. If you go to extreme any side, it is not very healthy. If one just does something which is very taxing or strenuous, like this health department, or one may not be able to continue being a brahmachari in the ashram. So it goes very taxing. So lot of pressure, lot of demands, very difficult. If one just does what one wants to do, then probably one is landing, go towards mixed devotional service and getting trapped in mixed devotional service. So one can do both. That is helpful. 50-50 is a good ratio. Okay, so let's stop here for today. Granthra Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Hari Bol. Okay,